Welcome to MSL Talk with Tom Caravella, a podcast specifically designed for MSLs and all things field medical.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. My guest today is Matteo Ottolini. He is a medical science liaison with Bayer Pharmaceuticals, and we talk about how he was able to land his first MSL position as an international candidate. So Matteo was awesome. I think you guys are really going to like this. Don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn. Check us out on YouTube and visit us on MSL Talk Live, which is the first Tuesday of every month at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hey, Matteo, thank you for joining me. Welcome to the podcast, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Tom. What about you?
I'm awesome, man. I am excited to talk to you. And I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this topic. This is one of those topics that people have asked me about for a while. Over the course of the past 3 years, people ask me, what would it take to land a position as an MSL, as an international candidate? And you did that. And you came to me and said, hey, I want to talk about my story. So I think that this is perfect timing. But before we get into that, why don't you do an introduction? Let everybody know who you are and where you're from and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. So first of all, I'm going to get the legality disclaimer out of the way, saying that the views and opinions that I will express here today are my own and do not represent in any way, shape, or form the one of my current employer. Now, that said, my name is Matteo Ottolini, and I am originally from Italy, as you can tell from my accent, Tom. And as a background goes, I'm a PharmD and a PhD by training. I graduated from pharmacy school back in 2014 at the University of Parma in Italy. And then I have graduated with my PhD in pharmacology in 2021 from the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. And I am currently located still in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I now work as a medical science liaison for a global pharmaceutical company supporting their GU oncology portfolio. And I want to just take a quick second, Tom, to say that I'm absolutely honored and thrilled to be on this podcast today. You had such amazing guests on this platform who have helped me incredibly in my journey to medical affairs. I remember I started listening to your podcast about 3 years ago when I think you just started back then. And at the time, I had very little idea what a medical affair was. And for me, I was picturing to be like this, super steep mountain, with the almost invisible summit. And then your podcast or your guest helped me to take the first few steps and eventually climbing that mountain. So again, I hope today by sharing my experience with you and your audience to pay it forward to the community, really.
Listen, you know what? It is a steep climb. It is a big mountain, but it's not impossible. You did it, and you deserve it. And hopefully the information that we share today is going to help somebody else to do the same thing. So I appreciate you taking time to tell your story and coming on here. And I appreciate your feedback. I'm glad that the podcast was helpful for you. That's what this is for. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your story. So let's start with, this is most obvious. And I think that a lot of people may not realize, but in order for an international candidate to even consider coming to the U.S. for a position, you have to go about getting authorization to do so. So how did you go about getting authorized to come here?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Well, there is a lot to unpack in that question, Tom. I moved to the United States about 8 years ago. And actually, at the time, I didn't move here to become an MSL. To be honest, I didn't even know what an MSL was. But I basically moved to the US because I got this opportunity to work on a research project in collaboration with the professor at UVA. Basically, soon after I have graduated from with my pharmacy degree. And the fun fact that I like to share with people is that I was supposed to be here for only 8 months. And then I was enjoying the time doing research, and we received more funding to complete the project. So I decided to stay on. And Tom, I've always been a pretty driven and goal-oriented person. And I saw opening up in front of me a unique opportunity for my career, my future. That was trying to get a graduate degree, or however you want to call it, a PhD, from a university in the United States, a prestigious university like University of Virginia. So what I did, I applied to the program. I was fortunate to be accepted. And then during my PhD, I was able to collaborate and work with several very knowledgeable scientists and physicians. And I was very fortunate also to have a very prolific career in my PhD. I published several manuscript, research articles, and review articles. However, I also realized during that time that a career in academia was not aligned with my goals and my personality. So that is why then today I am a medical science liaison. Now I want to take a moment and circling back to the question whether I moved here at first to become a medical science liaison. I think I would like to share to whomever is in the audience and is listening and is thinking on having a similar path, again, coming here and try to break into the MSL role. I think it would be a good idea to try to find a stepping stone role or position here at first, maybe doing some research, clinical research, any of the sort. This is because in the United States, I mean, there are going to be different things, you know, the culture is different. You will have to learn a different language and learning different dynamics, like the healthcare is completely different. Also the pharmaceutical industry is different. So in this time, that will help you again to settle down and to understand all those things that they are different, and that will set you up, I think, for success for whatever you want to do in this country. So I think that's what I would like to share in that point.
Yeah, and it sounds like it was. I know from prior experience that it could be really tough to get did you get a green card? Is that what you got? And how tough was that?
Yeah. So truth to be told, Tom, the journey to green card is definitely not an easy one. It is a long journey, but it is possible. So there are several types of green card application that anyone can apply to. There are several types of visa that you can go on to be able to come here. Now this goes way beyond the scope of this podcast, but I am going to focus today briefly on what was my journey, what I did. So the green card application that I applied to, it was a self-petition application, and it is called EB2 green card for advanced degree holders and people with exceptional ability who seek and obtain a national interest waiver. Now, per short, EB2 NIW. Now, Tom, getting a green card sponsored by a U.S. employer, it is difficult, especially if you have never worked for them before. And the main reason why, Tom, it is because, first of all, they have to give you a job offer, and then they have to test the job market for this offer. So they have to do what is called labor certification. They have to open up this job to all the other American citizen and green card holder out there that they want to apply to the same position. And then they will have to showcase immigration that they want you as an international candidate with very specific skills to fill that position. So as you can imagine, Tom, this can take a long time, and it was also expensive. So it is difficult that this is going to happen, especially if you have never worked for them before. Now, the NIW, it is a great option because you don't need a job offer. In fact, the job offer, that labor certification are going to be waived because in the application that you do, you showcase immigration in the United States that it is in the interest of the United States to waive the job offer because you're very well positioned and you're highly qualified to bring significant advancement and contribution to the field of whenever you are expert in the field that you are expert in. That could be healthcare, can be science, technology, etc. So again, to be able to file this application, you need to meet specific requirements, of course. That is why I advise anyone that would like to do this to seek out legal advice and build a strong application that can be filed. Does that answer your question, Tom?
Yeah. And well, I just think that there's a lot of people that are right now probably really intimidated. Like, well, how do I do this? Is it impossible? What are the different, and again, we don't have to get into the exact details, but there are different types of authorizations and sponsorships that you can consider. But let me ask you, did you have an immigration attorney that you worked with?
Yes, I had an immigration attorney. In fact, Tom, at the time, I didn't even know that this NIW, what this was. I learned when I spoke with an attorney that I learned about this possibility. There is another type of green card that can be filed as a self-petition, but I was not able to qualify for that one. But the attorney thought that I was able to qualify for this type of green card, so that is why we filed this application together.
Yeah, great. So then what was your plan? So was your plan to get authorization and then find a permanent job in the US? And at that point, did you know it was going to be an MSL job, or how did that go?
Yeah, so actually my plan, Tom, started when I was still in my PhD. And I realized that an academic track was something that I just didn't want to be doing. And I think I would like to share with all the PhDs out there, and especially the international PhDs, that to try to start thinking about your career goal well in advance before that graduation date comes about. And I think the reason is threefold. The first one is I think it takes time to explore the different options that you might have outside of the normal academic track. And also, once you have that figured out, then it takes time to figure out what you would like to be doing. And finally, I think it is going to take time to actually pursue that goal. So the sooner you start, the better. And again, especially for international candidate, that the journey to immigration is a long road ahead. So having the idea is clear if in the beginning, it's better. Now, what I did, circling back to my plan, I had a few ideas of what my options were, but I knew that I needed to get a green card. So I sought out legal advice. Again, I connected with my attorney, and I put all my cards down, and we realized that I could have applied for this NIW petition, and so that's what we did. But at the time, I still did not have idea that I wanted to be an MSL. At the very beginning, when I started this process, I didn't know what an MSL was, Tom.
It's crazy how things worked out and led you to this place. There's a lot of people that are listening that are in other countries that want to be an MSL, that's their goal. And I hope that they can learn a little bit from this. But so before we get into some of the MSL stuff, tell me about, like, I'm sure there were roadblocks. I'm sure it wasn't easy. And you said that it was a long process. So talk to us about the roadblocks.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Tom. The journey to immigration it can be really difficult, and especially mentally, it's a marathon. I could bring on a lot of things that were roadblocks, but I think the main two things that I would like to share here today that I was struggling with, it was being patient and also the uncertainty and the unknown. And what I mean by that, it is because when I was working on my application and putting this application together, working with my attorney, now that is a lot of work. It is a lot of work on your part. It is a lot of work on your lawyer part, and it is also very expensive. Now, but at the time when I was working on something, I felt that I was making a difference. I was able to achieve that goal. But once your application is all together and you file it and you send it into immigration on USCIS, then it's where the waiting game begins. And Tom, you don't get many updates from immigration. It can go by months and months without knowing anything. And so you are there not even knowing if your application will, if they will request for more evidence, or maybe your application is going to get denied. You don't know all those things. So you are in a limbo for a long time. And as you can imagine, this is mentally can be really tough. And I'm going to be honest with you, Tom. I spent several sleepless nights, and it can get depressing at times. But what I would like to share with the audience that at least helped me to get through this time was actually trying to proactively becoming more knowledgeable around the immigration landscape at large, and trying to staying up to date with all the latest on immigration. That kind of put me in a mindset where I felt that I was still making a difference and working proactively on my application. And that in the end was great for two reasons. The first one, I became more knowledgeable on something that I knew very little about. And the second one was because as soon as I was getting those updates from USCIS, at least I was able to connect with my attorney immediately, and again to try to move this application forward as fast as possible. So that's what helped me. But again, I speak many times with international candidates, and everybody is in this, I mean, is struggling. It is difficult, but it is possible.
Yeah, obviously, because we're having this conversation and you're a success.
Several other people have done it, so not only me.
Thank God. Yeah. And so now I know you and I talked that, networking was really helpful for you. So let's talk about your networking strategy and what activities from a networking standpoint were beneficial for you.
No, absolutely, Tom. And I was looking forward to this question because that topic is really, really close to my heart. So now again, while I was in my PhD, I realized that I would have liked to do something that I would have helped healthcare providers or physicians to improve patients' care. But at the time, I had no idea what I could have done. So what did I just do? I basically reached out to a couple of physicians that I was collaborating with, and I basically asked for their opinion and their help. And I think this showcase of the importance again of building those strong collaboration, strong relationship, and really not be afraid of asking for help and sharing your dreams and goals to the right people, because that is going to take you very far. Indeed, was along the line of the on having a conversation with one of those physicians that the MSL role came about. And again, I had no idea what an MSL was at the time, but this doctor said, "Hey, Matteo, your background is great, you're scientifically sound, and your personality, I think, is going to fit in this role. Why don't I connect you with an MSL that I'm collaborating with?" And I was like, "Oh, that sounds great." I was going to talk to somebody. So I was like, yes, sign me in, sign me up. So that's what I did. I connected with this MSL and I had my very, very first informational interview. And at that time, when I had that interview, I knew that the MSL role was something that I really wanted to be pursuing. Now, how did I go about it? Well, I used mainly 4 tools. The first one is LinkedIn. Everybody who knows me well knows that I am a strong believer in the strategic use of LinkedIn. The second one was your podcast, as I mentioned this already before. The third one was another platform that is called webinar platform called Ask and Tell the MSL. There are several great interviews on that platform. And then the fourth one was the Journal of the MSL Society. Now, I would like to share that once you start, try to build your network and sending those outreaches, keep them short. But even more importantly, have a why. Have a why you're trying to connect with that very person. And again, those platforms that I just shared helped me, especially in the very beginning, to have a why. And as simple as it was to write a line in those messages, say, "Hey, I really like that article that you wrote. Because of that, can we chat? Hey, I really like that episode. Can we chat?" Believe me, that is going to get you very far, because if you're showing genuinely the interest in the other person and getting to know them, they will respond to you. And then you can have actually two-way conversations once you pick up the phone and call them. Because in the very beginning, Tom, to be honest, I was wondering why all these people would have even respond to me. They don't even know who I am. Why they should even be wasting their time with me. But believe me, again, if you do your homework and you personalize the message, people will respond and you will have amazing conversations. And also, what I would like to say here on top is that this is going to be a great exercise to actually understand if the MSL role might be for you. Because, hey, as an MSL, you're going to have to connect with physicians that you've never seen and spoke before. And you better do your homework and try to do all that pre-call planning to be able to have that first meaningful conversation with them and then to build a long-lasting relationship. So that's point number one. And the other thing I like to share is that once you start building your network, just like start large, cast a large net, connect with as many MSL and medical directors as you can, because that will allow you to learn all the ins and outs of medical affairs, and there is a lot to learn. And then eventually you can narrow it down your attention and connect with MSLs that might work in therapeutic areas that you have more interest in, or maybe your background is more aligned to those areas. And all this is gonna be fundamental for you to break into the MSL role. Now, building a network, it takes time. Building strong relationship takes time. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I feel it was almost like building a little business, very challenging and a very steep curve at first, but then you get in that groove and you understand and you are better, and then it becomes almost rewarding. I mean, I really enjoyed it at the very end, and I keep on networking every day because I love it. But that's what I would like to share. And as you can see, Tom, I'm very passionate about this topic, and I could talk forever. But for the sake of time, I would like to suggest the audience to go back and listen to some of the episodes that were already done on this podcast. And people with even more knowledge than me have already shared their experience and opinions. And that those episodes helped me tremendously. So please, if you are interested, just go listen to them.
Well, and I can add to that by saying that the most downloaded MSL Talk podcast in history is episode number 1. And it's about the importance of networking for MSLs. So you might want to go back and listen to that one to get started. But I could tell you that everything that Matteo just explained is spot on. I think that networking is one of the foundations of what your success might be. As you continue through your job search, it's paramount. You should definitely get out of your comfort zone and do all the things that he just said. He really spelled out exactly what it takes. Use LinkedIn, get out there, be brief, reference something. Hey, I saw your article, or use someone, do a name drop and use someone's name. Hey, I know that we're connected through this person, or so-and-so told me to reach out to you. Makes a big difference, but you want to keep the other person, you want to be respectful for the other person and the other person's time. Don't be too lengthy, and don't come at the person as if they should be obligated to talk to you. It's very off-putting. All right, so let's move on, because the next thing that I always hear from people is the challenge of overcoming experience and being customer facing and having a customer facing role prior to, or even having any MSL experience. So how did you overcome that?
Right. And that, I think that goes back to the importance of having all those informational interview and doing all that networking. And one of the common themes that came about when I was talking to all these MSLs and other people was that I had all what it took to be an MSL, but I didn't have this customer facing experience. Now, one of the roles that I was actually already interested even before pursuing the MSL role, but this role actually came about again and again, was the clinical trial coordinator. And so now, what is a clinical trial coordinator? What do they do? So in a nutshell, a clinical coordinator is a gatekeeper of a clinical trial protocol. They are expert on a clinical trial protocol, and they support and help a group of physicians to screen and enroll patients to go on trials. And then they work with physicians and support the patients along their journey on the clinical trial. Now, that was a very succinct description. The truth is, you as clinical coordinator wear many hats. You have to collaborate with so many different entities, different people, a different level of authority, and completely diverse needs. And you will get to work with and collaborate also with several people in the CROs or clinical research organizations. And also you will engage with medical affairs. So that, as you can imagine, Tom, that helped me tremendously to build up and develop all those transferable skills that they helped me to, first of all, to break in the MSL role. But to be honest, all the experience that I've gathered in that position, I use it today again in my role. So I could totally build a whole another episode on how I think this clinical coordinator role sets you up for success to become an MSL. But we don't have time for this today. But again, I think this is a great option for people that are maybe trying to find the stepping stone position than to break into the role.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. How did you ultimately break into the role? What was that like?
Right. So I actually broke into the role because one of the recruiter that was in my network, again, all that networking, she called me one day and she said, "Hey, there is this position. Do you think you're still interested?" And Tom, I mean, at the time, I was ready to pick up that phone call and tell her that I knew what an MSL was. I mean, I was ready to go there and get it. And then the following day, I received an email that the hiring manager wanted to talk to me, and then again, I was able to become an MSL. And I think one thing that I really would like to share here, because someone asked me this question already, and I was actually asking myself this question while in my journey, and this is especially important for an international candidate, is because I was back then when I was in my journey into medical affairs, I was keep on thinking, hey, should I actually keep like doing all this networking, working so hard, and I don't even know if I'll be able to be here and stay here. I don't even know if my green card application will ever be approved. And I wish I had someone telling me back then, yes, you should. First of all, because, and I was fortunate I kept doing it because then I was ready to pick up that phone call and say that I really wanted to be an MSL. Because if I didn't continue to do all this networking and learning more and more and more, I would probably never had that opportunity. I would probably never have been able to break into the role. So again, and also the other thing is like once you are in the journey to medical affairs, you're going to learn a lot of things about you and a lot of things about the profession as well. So again, I think that the answer is yes. You should keep on networking and things if they're meant to be will happen.
So, that's interesting that you should say that. I think we do learn a lot about ourselves when we go through this, the magnitude of this, the transition, the move, the challenge. We learn a lot about ourselves. So what did you learn about yourself?
Yeah, Tom. So I learned a lot of things, but I think what I would like to share here today is that the process to medical affairs definitely re-emphasized the fact that I'm a very driven and goal-oriented person. Now, that on the one hand, it is a great strength to have, but I also realized that was one of my biggest weaknesses because sometimes when I was not able to maybe achieve my goal, I felt that I was like going far away from it. I I started thinking, hey, am I working hard enough? Am I working smart enough? Or maybe just the goal was wrong altogether. But what I've actually learned, Tom, is that most often it's not because you're not working hard enough. It's not because the goal is wrong, but it's all about timing. So you keep on networking, keep on learning things, keep on developing and implementing new strategies. It's all about troubleshooting, Tom. Keep on implementing new strategies to go about that goal. And believe me, at some point, at the right time, the right opportunity will present itself. And again, I think that there is definitely a little bit of luck in life. I'm not going to lie, but I think mostly, Tom, and I'm stealing this from you. This is was one of your quote, is that I think luck is where hard work meets opportunities, and not only to break in the MSL role, but in anything you do in life. So again, I think that's definitely keep on networking, keep on learning things that will serve you for life.
Awesome. I love that. It's great advice. And well, it's because I gave it to you. No.
I just stole it. I stole it. I love this so much. I'm gonna steal it.
No, this was amazing. So what other advice, now that you're sharing your wisdom, what other advice do you have for other folks that are either looking to break into the role or other MSLs in general, now that you've been doing it?
Right. Well, Tom, again, I love being an MSL, and I'm so grateful of this great opportunity. Again, so many people strive to achieve. Again, one of the things that draw me away from academia was the fact that I was working on projects that maybe 30 years down the road would have turned into something actionable that would have helped people. But as an MSL, I get to wake up every day knowing that I'm engaged, working at the cutting edge of science, having discussion and talking about research that will directly impact patients' care, improve patients' care. So I think this is priceless. At least it's for me. So I'm very blessed to be here. And now, as challenges they go, one of the challenges that as a new MSL I'm facing, and I kind of knew this already from all my informational interviews, was the fact that you have to get established in the territory, right? You have to map your territory. You have to try to understand who are the main player in that territory. And also another hurdle is definitely the access to doctors and institutions, which is not only for a new MSL, it's for everybody, right? So that's definitely a challenge that I'm facing. And another one that I was less aware of is that, Tom, as a MSL, especially new MSL, you need to work with several entities within the pharmaceutical company. And there are many. So you need to actually understand how to best partner with them and to achieve your strategic goals. So that's something that I'm working on and now. And it is definitely a steep learning curve, but I'm learning a lot. And one thing I would like to share is that, again, never stop, ask for help, because I'm very fortunate. I have a great team that I work with and great collaboration, and I've been helped a lot. And so again, that's if I have to share something, it is that never ask for help and try to collaborate as much as possible, especially in the beginning, because you will have to learn a lot. And so that's what I would like to share.
Awesome. Well, you're awesome, my friend. I think that this is going to help a lot of people. I learned a lot too. I didn't realize just how much goes into it. I assumed, but you did a great job, and I appreciate you coming on. I'm a big fan of yours. I think that you're an awesome dude, and I think that you have a very bright future ahead of you. So thanks for sharing your knowledge, and thank you all for listening. I hope you guys like this. If you did, if you know somebody that maybe is living internationally and is looking to transition or wants to get to the US, share this podcast with them, because I think what Matteo has shared today was really good stuff. So thanks again, Matteo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to everybody, just if you feel free to reach out. I'm active on LinkedIn and Twitter. So always happy to help if I can.
You're a good man. Way to go. Thanks for being here. Take care, man. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe so that you don't miss episodes in the future. And feel free to leave a rating or a review or a comment. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.